What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Knott's Scary Farm 2018, which is celebrating its 46th year with 9 mazes, 4 scare zones, 3 shows, and over 1,000 monsters. So this is definitely the granddaddy of haunts. In today's video we're going to go over the ticket options, the entire maze lineup. I'll share my thoughts on that. I'll give you guys some tips to make your stay at the event more enjoyable. So if you guys are fans of Halloween events and you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe, hit that like button, and let's just jump right into it. So Knott's Scary Farm this year opens on September 20th and it's going to end on October 31st. Tickets start as low as $42 and can go as high as $60. If you can attend the event the first 2 weekends, I highly recommend it. Tickets are less than $50 even on Saturday and Sunday, and the crowds are much smaller. They're also offering a season pass where you can attend every single night of Knott's Scary Farm for only $95, which is a great deal. Just keep in mind that they don't include parking with this, so every time you go it'll be an extra 22 bucks, but it's still a fantastic deal. Now let's move on to the mazes. Like I said, there are 9 haunted attractions this year. 2 of them are brand new, 7 of them are returning from last year, so let's start with the new ones. The first new maze is called Dark Entities, and that's a sci-fi based maze. The description says, teleport beyond Earth and into a realm where the darkness is absolute. In the depths of space, a lone station faces terror beyond all imagination. I absolutely love sci-fi themes, and I think it's awesome that we're seeing another one come to Knott's Scary Farm. If they can capture the tone of, let's say, Dead Space, one of the scariest games I've played, or something similar to that, then it'll be awesome to see. So I am looking forward to this. Now moving on to the second new maze called The Depths, designed by John Cook. And if you don't know who John Cook is, he's definitely the best designer that Knott's Scary Farm had. He moved over to Queen Mary's Dark Harbor this year, and I'll be making a separate video on that event. But he's done Shadowlands, he designed Paranormal Inc., and I believe he also did Dark Ride, but I may be wrong with that one. And now he's coming back as a consultant to do this maze, so that makes me extremely hopeful for this. And the description reads, a heavy fog drapes over an abandoned port village where ancient creatures lurk inside the pitch black underground caves hidden below the seaside shores. The Night Watch mining crew has mysteriously disappeared, and village rumors point to the eerie tunnels the town sits upon. Now moving on to the returning mazes, let's start off with Special Ops Infected, which is an interactive experience with laser guns where you navigate through the city and you're shooting at zombies. There's going to be new missions and challenges and an all-new finale. And this is definitely one of my favorite attractions that not only Knott's Scary Farm has, but any Halloween event has done. Shadowlands is returning for its 3rd year. The description says, a fulfilling life ensures a soul-safe passage into eternity. But what happens to the souls of soldiers slain in battle? Enter the hair-raising Shadowlands maze and fight off demon samurais whose souls are cursed to rot within the depths of purgatory. And I think it's awesome seeing a maze explore Japanese culture, all of the urban legends and myths within that culture, because they're extremely creepy. This maze, it's back for its 3rd year, and there is a reason why it's returning. It's one of the best mazes I've probably ever been through. There's some awesome wire work, there's some really creepy imagery. It captures this really dark tone, and I think they did a great job with this. Paranormal Inc. also returns, and this is also another John Cook maze, which is why it's so good. This features high-flying aerial stunts and scares as guests help investigate a haunted hospital where the patients were tortured for decades by deranged doctors and nurses. And if you've never been to Knott's Scary Farm, this is definitely a must-see maze. Trick or Treat Lights Out. Armed with only a faulty flashlight, explore the creepy house at the end of the street in the upgraded Trick or Treat Lights Out maze. And we did see these flashlights incorporated into the Trick or Treat maze last year, and I think they did a really great job of doing that. It definitely changed the vibe of the maze the last couple of years when Trick or Treat was around. It felt more lighthearted, Halloween celebration, and it was a really good maze. Then throwing in the flashlights and making it darker, it just made it naturally creepier. Now moving on to Dark Ride, where you explore an abandoned carnival ride and you come face to face with carnies and freaks and all of these deranged individuals. And this was probably my favorite maze last year. It was a tie between this and Shadowlands, but I think just having that essence of like a Disneyland ride and having even the track on the ground all the way through the entire haunt, the attention to detail in this maze was fantastic. Then in Pumpkin Eater, you come face to face with the 7-foot tall creature. They're teasing that there's going to be 2 new creatures in this maze. Besides that, there's not any major changes, but I enjoyed this maze last year. I think the execution could have been a bit better. There was a lot of rooms with either just dead space or the actors just weren't at the top of their game like the other mazes. So I hope to see it improved this year. I think the theme is really great, but it needs a little bit of work. Then Red Barn returns with the brand new opening scene. This is basically like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style family coming after you. It's probably the most generic maze that Knott's Scary Farm has this year. I think the other 8 mazes have a lot of potential, and a lot of them are really great since they are returning, but this one was just okay for me last year, and I hope that it's better this year. Maybe the scare actors and their energy will elevate the maze, but for right now, I'm not too excited for it. Then we have Ghost Town, Carnival, Forsaken Lake, and the Hollows as the 4 scare zones this year. Honestly, scare zones here, with the exception of Ghost Town, are not very memorable, so I'm only going to talk about Ghost Town. But if you've never been to Knott's Scary Farm, I just can't wait for you guys to experience the Ghost Town scare zone, because it's dark, it's foggy. I mean, the whole scare zone is full of fog. You can barely see where you're going, and you have sliders, the infamous sliders here at Knott's Scary Farm, so definitely the best scare zone. And when you do come into the park, if you get there before 7 p.m. when they drop the ropes, they do have a small opening ceremony in the Ghost Town streets. It's very atmospheric, it looks awesome, so get to the event early. I recommend getting there 6:30 p.m. a little bit before opening, so you can go through like 3 or 4 of the mazes within the first hour and a half, and then after that the lines are going to build up a little bit, but you'll be done with about half of the mazes already. Then we have 4 shows, and I'm not familiar with 3 of them. I know there's a magic show, I know there's an interactive dance club, and then the Hanging, which is the famous parody show that Knott's Scary Farm does every year, which I have fun watching. It's not the best show, it's not the best jokes, but it's still a fun time that makes fun of all of pop culture. Then you also have Rides in the Dark, with Ghost Rider, Sierra Sidewinder, and Silver Bullet being open for the event. And riding Ghost Rider at night is absolutely terrifying, but it's one of my favorite roller coasters, and I try to ride it every year, but the lines get extremely long. So if you get to the event early, you go through 2 or 3 mazes, then possibly just get in line for Ghost Rider. And last but not least, I'll give you guys some recommended food options. And Knott's Scary Farm doesn't have the best restaurants inside the park, but they do have Mrs. Knott's Chicken Restaurant Dinner, and they have some really delicious fried chicken and boysenberry desserts, so I highly recommend eating there if you do want to eat in the park. And if you don't want to eat in the park and you're driving over into Anaheim area, there's a restaurant called Portillo's, which has some amazing Italian beef sandwiches, hot dogs, cheese fries, and chocolate cake shakes. So that's also in Buena Park. It's very close to Knott's Scary Farm. And there you guys have it. That is the overview for Knott's Scary Farm 2018. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in a couple of days with another horror movie review or Halloween event update. So see you guys then. Bye.